This is a video around how I went from being a freelance video editor and a chat closer and a video call closer to owning an agency that's recognized across the online industry to the point where people put our name alongside editing styles. This is going to be for the ones who have something to sell. So you're not at step zero. And if you are, I'm going to link some videos, older videos of mine or the videos that I really like in the pinned comment. Go check it out and let's go into my transition from being a freelancer to an agency owner. So in 2020, I discovered the word freelancing. And at that time, I started off by being a freelance video editor. And I chose the niche of just editing fitness videos because I was personally interested in fitness. So I landed a couple clients, and then you can say I somewhat built a micro agency with a friend of mine. We got to a point where we had like 5 or 6 clients, and then everything was going well. We were pretty much like selling anything, right? हमारे दोस्त थे college में. I was outsourcing their web development skills. I sold that. We were creating online fitness guides and all. So that's how I became a freelancer. Then at that time, around the end of 2020, I discovered a sales mentorship, went into that, and then afterwards I landed a video call closing gig. Did that for like, I would say 3 or 4 months, closed a few deals here and there, made some money. And then I went into chat closing. So I was selling business coaching or done for you Walmart stores or mindset coaching, stuff like that. And then at that time when I graduated, I actually started hating my gig completely. Video call closing wala gig ho ya fir chat closing wala ho. I started hating all of it. So then I was like, okay, fuck it. I'm just gonna give up on this. And then at that point, I made enough money to convince my parents that I will go, deep into this and not get a job. And they fortunately agreed to it. Then afterwards, I started posting content of my own. A friend referred me to AOS Media, where I became a content intern. I was working, around 5 days a week for the first 3-4 months. I was doing all of the client content alone because they didn't have the systems back then. Then I personally went into becoming a leader inside the company. Then I learned a lot around how promotions and Instagram shoutouts work. That basically gave me all of the insights around being an Instagram guy essentially. And then during this entire journey, I always had the idea कि I want to start my own agency. मैं और कोई भी business model start करने का सोच भी नहीं सकता था because I didn't know कि और कौन से business model होते हैं frankly. And then I always wanted to hold this trophy of running a successful agency. So that's why when in 2023 my career shot up in terms of being a creator. July May I started my agency, and then at that time I was working with Aman, my video editor right now, and then we started finding people through my brand. That's pretty much how I went from being a freelancer to an agency owner. Now so this was a 2.5 year ka jump, right? I learned a lot in this scenario. I now work with people that are known across the industries, and my agency is recognized worldwide at this point. So I'm going to boil down the learnings of the last 2.5 years to give you a complete picture around what it is like to be a freelancer and then actually become an agency owner, right? It's not कि भाई बस तुमने सोचा और तुमने start कर दिया. There are some things that are required. Let's head on to the whiteboard for this. Let's start by understanding what are the positives and negatives of being a freelancer. ठीक है? First thing is it's very high profit because pretty much तुम्हारे expenses है ही नहीं when you are freelancing. But the biggest negative here is that your time, like money is dependent on the amount of time that you spend. Doesn't matter कि तुम कितना पैसा कमाओगे. It is dependent on the time that you have. Now, especially with AI, maybe you can create systems जिनका scale ज़्यादा है, but there will be a ceiling to it. Now, I'm not talking about people जिनके 1% businesses बहुत बड़े होते हैं. Most of the people are not like that. So this is like the general observation यहाँ पे. Second thing is, the big positive here is that there is a very low people responsibility. But the biggest negative is that there's very limited learning. People responsibility come because you pretty much don't have anyone else other than your clients to work with. And then negatives, it's your learning gets hit. मतलब एक ceiling आ जाता है around how much you will learn because there is nothing else. तुम किसी के साथ में काम नहीं कर रहे हो. You are not learning about how people management is. You're not learning, let's say, the psychology of working with people. And I would say that is probably the biggest pillar of running an agency. I would say one of the again bigger positives here, it's that there is freedom of being selective. Like in this part, you can decide who you want to work with, and because you have very low people responsibility, it gives you a lot more mental peace in terms of the amount of people that you have. तुम्हारे अगर कभी ज़्यादा बड़ा friend circle नहीं रहा है, so you know how peaceful it is. But for people who have massive friend circles, उन्हें पता होता है कि कितना ज़्यादा distracting होता है of having so many people in their life. But the biggest negative is that the scale is limited. You can only get to a certain amount of money, or you can only get to a certain amount of impact as the person, like as the only person working on this. And the biggest negative is that one thing I've seen, especially building a great team, right? It's that the output of two people is not equal to twice the amount of one person. Two good people produce at least a 10x output as compared to just one person. तो अब तुम्हें यहाँ पे ये समझना पड़ेगा कि how many proportions of impact you are missing out on when you are working alone as a freelancer. So that's pretty much the positives and negatives. If you want to learn more and if you want to actually learn in depth about what it is like to be a service business owner or to build a brand online, I'd recommend you check out the Journey Club and you can sign up. I'll see you guys in one of the Q&A calls. But right now, let's go into the transition of how you actually go from being a freelancer to an agency owner. Now talking about the transition of being an agency owner, simply put, अगर तुमने सोचा है कि अच्छा भाई ठीक है मेरे पास अब पैसा आ चुका है after being a freelancer, let's just get somebody to do a part of my work, तुमने agency basically बना दी है. But there are some intricacies that we have to talk about. One very ignored topic in the entire industry, it's the legal side, right? When you are a high earning freelancer, I think around the income of till the ceiling of let's say 15-20 lakh, तुम्हारे legal repercussions नहीं होते हैं. But once you exceed the 20 lakh annual income wala part, you need to have your GST. So I would say the easiest thing you can do right now is to get a GST, because then तुम payment processors पे अपना business register कर सकते हो and you can start availing some GST good benefits, right? Now, GST, get it as a sole proprietor if you are starting an agency and तुम्हारे पास co-founder नहीं है. Because just being a sole proprietor gives you a lot of benefits in terms of monetary outcomes initial level पे. Second thing is that you need an IEC. This is an import-export code. You need this especially when you are working with foreign clients, because this is like a proof that you are an exporter of services outside of India, right? And then it gives you a proper document that is also necessary when you do a lot of registrations outside. This is, I would say, one of the documents that is not talked about enough. It's called the letter of undertaking. Best thing is GST, you have to pay the 18% when you are circulating money within India. You don't pay GST when the money comes outside of India, comes from outside of India. LUT is the proof. So क्या होता है कि let's say when you are building your invoice PDFs, all you do is you just put your LUT number here. Now this becomes proof that this money is coming from outside of India. You will of course mention the currency that you are getting paid in. Now the government won't tax you, right? So this becomes your protection, and then you can actually make tax-free money in terms of the usual GST filing. अगर तुम्हारे पास पैसा within India आ रहा है, so let's say if I have a project that I'm working on within India, I cannot use my LUT in that, and then I have to pay the GST when I file my monthly GST returns. Or let's say if I'm doing a brand deal or anything, which is again money coming to my to my bank account, and because everything is linked to my PAN card, I have to pay GST. But if you want to start an agency as a sole proprietor, or let's say a solo founder, get a GST as a sole proprietor, get an IEC and get a LUT. You will be sorted in terms of legal outcomes. Next thing is, I would say when you want to talk about other aspect of legal side, which is the agreements. Instead of searching for agreements on Google, go and get a Gemini subscription, because Gemini is, I would say, significantly better than GPT or Claude at drafting agreements plus answering anything legal. तो तुम क्या कर सकते हो कि you can stress test limits of your agreements. Let's say if you know कि तुम्हारी सर्विस में तो कोई यूज केस आ सकता है जिसमें you won't get paid on time as an agency, stress test it inside Gemini and it will help build a clause, right? So I have done a lot, especially in the last month, to bulletproof our agreements, and it's helping us a lot. So use Gemini to make either your contractor agreements where you're working with freelancers, your employee agreements when you are working with full-time people, and your client agreements as well. All right, number 3 is now after the legal side and the agreement side with Gemini, now we are going to talk about, let's say, the infra. We are going to talk about the infrastructure of running an agency. Now, what type of agencies हो सकती है, right? So you only need, let's say, a few types of people. Number one delegation that you will do when you go from a freelancer to an agency model, it's you're going to hire somebody for operations. Second one, it's going to be the end nodes. I call these end nodes because इनके आगे काम है ना वापस से टीम को जाता है. So let's say if there are 5 people working in a chain to get like pieces of content made या फिर website made, at the end it will be the developer or somebody who fixes the bugs, or it will be the designer or editor. So I call the editors and the designers as end nodes. That will be your second type of hire. Third one is going to be admin, replying to emails, drafting agreements, sending agreements to your team, collecting the team invoices, and then giving you a complete summary कि तुम्हें कितना pay करना है. And then pretty much all of that, I would say just go on Upwork, create a post, you will get somebody from Philippines for $5 an hour, and who will be good to get your admin work done. And then number 4, it's going to be the creative people. I would say the most difficult part to delegate is the creative as well as the ops. Because when you're a freelancer, these are your 2 main responsibilities. And this again happens because if you are the one who's doing the skill, then ये तो होगा ही. But this, like these 3 are the most difficult hires that you can make. Now, to learn how you can fix your infra in terms of proper delegation, you're going to start learning about delegation. It's not as simple as कि भाई अच्छा भाई तू आ गया, just take this and everything will be at 100% from right there. It's not going to be. So what you will do is you're actually going to start learning from the book, and it's called Who Not How, right? It's a prime example of delegation because ये concept जिसका है, the guy didn't even write the book. He got somebody else to do it, right? Now, second thing is, as the agency leader, now you're gonna start outsourcing the work. What I mean is, it all starts with simpler things. कि let's say if you got somebody to do your job, तुम बस उनको clueless नहीं छोड़ोगे, right? What you're gonna do is you're gonna create SOPs, and you will see कि अच्छा the way in which I used to work, what were the ways, right? And then you're gonna document them in Loom videos, or you can create Gamma documents and stuff, and then you can just hand it to the people. अब होता क्या है कि if you get somebody new to do your job, and let's say if you are a 10 out of 10 on your own scale, you will probably get the work of let's say 5 or 6 if the person is not at the highest level. अब तुम्हारा काम है उसको 8 से 9 पे लेकर जाना. Because I'm frankly telling you, especially when you're starting an agency, you do not need your 100% expectations met. If they are at 8 or 9, it's still fine. How delegation and how outsourcing properly works is that you do the 20%. So let's say if this is the complete task, you do the 20% for them and you show it to them, and then you let them do the 80%, right? And then यहाँ पे अब तुम है ना उनको feedback दे के उनके work का quality increase करोगे over time, right? Let's say if you were here and this is a scale, like the y-axis is of skill level, right? And let's say if you are here and then this is your desired output, तुम जब 20% करोगे, it's going to be here, but when they start, it's going to start very low, and then through feedback loops, they're going to grow. But this is a factor of patience, belief, and not being a control freak. ठीक है? अब इसके बाद में what you will do is you will find कि यार आज सबसे easy task आज कौन सा है जो मैं किसी को outsource कर सकता हूँ. Because I would much rather have you outsource the most difficult tasks as a freelancer when you are turning into an agency at the end. क्योंकि by that point you need to have enough trust in the process कि अच्छा भाई मैं अगर किसी को काम दे रहा हूँ, it will be in a way in which I can sleep in peace. क्योंकि जब तो I guarantee like the first 5 to 6 months of you trying to delegate, you're gonna get rid of so many team members, you're gonna have a lot of arguments, you're not gonna trust anybody. But the only way to go through this obstacle is through. तुम्हें इसका कोई alternate नहीं मिलेगा कि यार अगर मैं इसको trust नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ, what should I do? Either you replace the person or you trust the person, right? That's just the only two ways to do it. That is why do not have false expectations कि तुम अगर आज किसी को hire करोगे, you will get 10 out of 10 quality work. unless you are paying top of the market. I had to get to that point in my agency after 2.5 years. So the game is very long in this. Okay. Now let's move on to the next part. All right. I know bada video ho raha hai. If you want more videos like these, be sure to subscribe, or I'm just gonna stop. Now let's move on to the next part. It's understanding scale. Scale की बात क्या है कि how things grow as, like, a leverage. If you have heard that quote, ki you give me a lever long enough and a handle to pull, I will move the world. That is the whole game of leverage. And leverage का point ये होता है कि your input remains the same, but the output increases over time. And that is pretty much how the idea of scale works. अगर तुम्हारे expenses तुम्हारे scale के साथ में बढ़ते जा रहे हैं, you're still at the same place, क्योंकि बीच का gap नहीं बढ़ेगा and you will not make money. So as an agency, the first taste of scale that you will get, it's going to be when you outsource decision making. Client से check-in call कब लेनी है, when do you call a project to be finished without getting your approvals, is the content piece getting approved at the highest quality and the client is liking it, क्या team members से negotiations अपने आप हो रहे हैं, या फिर the team restructuring is happening by itself. That all happens when you outsource decision making. For example, in my agency, I have one person who is the head of ops. I have one person who's my creative director. And these people have their own micro teams. My ops head has multiple project managers and my creative head has multiple creatives. Now, what usually happens is I've given the majority of internal decision making of the agency to these two people. ये लोग करते हैं, Sakshi decides who she hires. Aryan decides what kind of content gets made in my company. I do not come in the process. And that is where I taste the most amount of scale, because now I have freed myself up from two of the things that take the most amount of time. इसके बाद में you have to make sure कि they understand the skill of outsourcing decision making as well. क्योंकि आगे जाकर इनके अंडर जो लोग काम कर रहे हैं, they will eventually pick up on the skills and they will have their own people to command. And then when they can make their own decisions, their job becomes easier and then their leverage increases even more. And then with every node that gets added, your leverage and your scale as the founder increases. Second thing is you have to align on the vision. You have to constantly make sure that your leading team members know exactly where the company is headed. Gatekeep करके कुछ नहीं होता है. Tell them about the money that you make. Tell them about how much money they can make. Tell them about how much money you personally make, agency कितना कमा रही है. Like, be very open with them. Next thing is incentivize well. If you don't pay your leaders really well, they are not going to be motivated to do their work. If it means कि for 6 months, the only margin that you have left for yourself, it's your personal expenses, and you're not making any money on top of it, it's fine. Because over the period of those months, you will now have people जो तुम्हारा 80 to 90% time free कर देंगे, and now you can focus more on sales, so you will start increasing your margins over time, right? This is a difficult lesson that I had to learn in my first 6-7 months of running the agency, but I learned it. And then the people that I trusted early last year, or I would say early in 2024, in 2025 they were the people who gave me a 10x return, right? So I align them on my vision always. Now I would say another intricate part that you all have to make sure that you are learning about your agency is the unit economics. It means कि एक piece of deliverable complete करने में कितना money जाता है. So I would say learn about margins, fixed and variable costs, net and gross margins, expected revenue with the actualized MRR, and even more stuff, and just feed it to ChatGPT, and then you will get a lot more data so that आगे जाकर तुम बेवकूफ वाले decision नहीं लोगे, right? And then I would say the last and the main skill that you have to learn to become an agency owner is hands down leadership. My job as the agency owner is to only be good at leadership and to make sure that I'm bringing the best out of the people that work with me. मेरा काम उसके अलावा है ही नहीं. Most of the below average agency owners that I meet, or the people who, let's say, are not able to make any money, they are the ones who are incredibly bad at leadership. So you have to learn about the idea of being the best leader you can. And I would say one of the best books that I have read, period, on leadership. It's called Straight Line Leadership. I don't think it's hardcover or its paperback is available at this point. So you guys are gonna have to find the PDF, but it's a must read. I still randomly open the document where I have made the summary of that book and I still go back to it. So now that we have understood some of, let's say, more of the aspects about an agency, let's just talk about a quick AI software stack that I currently use inside my agency to pretty much run the entire thing. I actually don't need anything. At this point, my agency, it could be run just with an iPad, right? Because I pretty much don't need anything else. I just need my iPad, and then I need my notebook. So I would say software stack mein, at this point, I have invested heavy into my Google subscription. So every team member, like every core team member I have, they get the highest Google, suite. So they get Gemini as well as Notebook LM. Notebook LM is hands down the best AI that you can use to learn anything. Best part about it, about this is that it doesn't hallucinate. तुम ChatGPT को कुछ भी बोलोगे, it will definitely give you some random, output that you didn't actually want. Notebook LM is not like that. You give it a source, it will only give you the information that was inside that source. Plus, the best thing is that, let's say if you're learning from a YouTube video or you want to break down a landing page or anything, you just paste the link straight up inside Notebook LM, and now you can create infographics, mind maps, audio podcasts, frameworks, like everything from just this. And it literally takes like minutes to do it. And then let's say the output that you get from here, you can feed it into Gemini or GPT. I would say get GPT plus Claude if you want. I invested in Poppy AI, would not recommend it. And then और कोई software stack है AI use करते हैं अपन? I pretty much do not use any other AI, let's say personally. So this is something I would say it's going to be expensive. Per email I spend around 1500 to 2000 rupees, and then I get Gemini and Notebook LM alongside. GPT I have the Pro, and then I have Notion. Oh fuck, Notion AI. If you are working on content, is the best thing that you can buy. Okay, I'll just give you a quick hack. If you are working on content inside Notion AI, तुम्हें simple क्या करना है कि you have to track your data manually, likes, shares, saves, skip rate, etc. And then you ask Notion AI to create summaries of everything, and then now you can generate videos and video scripts based off of the frameworks that you have used that perform really well. If you want a detailed breakdown on this, let me know. I'll see if I would want to create a video around content made easy, essentially. अब इसके अलावा, let's just go a bit more into the people that I have hired and some of the decisions in terms of hiring that I have not made. So like I've said, I have my main hires as ops and communication, people who manage all of the internal communication, whether it's within the team or outside the team. And then I would say you should hire your version 2. For example, now I have Aryan in the company. He's pretty much my version 2 with a different set of skills, right? Now this is a person that you have to test. This is a person that you have to trust, and I'm going to leave it up to your interpretation. Sales ke liye, you pretty much hire when your backend is very much automated. Plus, it's easy for the salesperson to understand what the company is all about. At this point, I do not need any person for sales because the trajectory that my company is going in, if I get a salesperson, उनको समझाने में पूरे 3-4 महीने निकल जाएंगे, which I do not want. And then after that, just optimize for sales. And as the founder, when you have delegated everything and when you have built a solid team, sure, you're going inside the process and तुम लोग थोड़े बहुत approvals कर रहे हो. But as the founder, then you only focus on sales because sales give you the most amount of data around whether your service is needed or not, or what are some of the changes you can make while delivering your service. And then your core skill set that I would say as a founder is leadership, delegation, people management, transferring your vision, comfortable paying what you used to make in a year with lower margins, speaking well, irony bhai, and then improving sales, or you hire somebody else. And then I'm going to plug some books and resources that I would say is pretty much universal if you want to be in this field. And then that's pretty much the transition from being a freelancer to an agency owner. See, I'm not a magical, agency owner who knows it all. I might be because my agency is very well known in the industry. But the overall thing is that the game is of perseverance. These lessons, I didn't know them when I started my agency. I didn't know them when I was 6 months into my agency. So these are some things that will actually help you fast track your growth, and then by hook or crook, you will learn these things. After everything I've mentioned, you should not have any confusion if you want to go from being a freelancer to an agency owner. Now, the last question is the agency model worth it? I would say yes, if you do it well, and absolutely not if you get drowned in the sea of problems and you give up. That was it. If you want to learn how I 5x'd my agency in 2025 and I'm on track to 5x that this year, let me know in the comments. I'll see you guys in the next one.